right, let's move on to the NFC West, the last division we are talking about in this marathon of a podcast. If you are still with us on the actual podcast, thank you so much. If you are just clicking on this video to watch the NFC West breakdown of their free agency and draft needs, thanks for joining us. Go check out the rest of the show if you're interested. All right, additions and losses for the Seattle Seahawks. Let's put this graphic up now. Where are you at with this, man? It's an interesting list of guys that they lost, and not names that I would have expected them to go after.
Not at all, especially with all the controversy with Russell Wilson saying he's tired of being hit, got to go get some linemen. You got guys like Trent Williams, Alex Mack, all these other guys out there, big names.
There's a bunch of offensive linemen on the board.
And there still are offensive linemen out there too, so they could patch up some of these holes by the time that this comes out. We would have that updated by now. But at the time being, Gabe Jackson came over from the Raiders. He's a starter. Yeah. Not bad. So
they traded for him. They made a move to get him.
They're acknowledging that. They got a Gerald Everett who I think could really help out that tight end position, stretching the field a little bit. So, but they had some losses. Yeah,
they definitely did. I mean, nothing major yet. Chris Carson could come back, just to be clear, but I don't expect him to. That's why we put it on there. And if he does, then we'll update that as needed.
The only major one, and it's not really a major player, it's just a major positional need that they heard on last year, was Shaq Griffin.
Yeah, cornerback. I mean, yes. They need a corner. They need multiple corners, and it's weird to say. The good thing is their scheme kind of easy to find guys that fit their scheme in like the mid rounds, right? They can find some long corners that can run. I mean, and that's really all you kind of need for the most part. So that's doable. I think Gerald Everett is an underrated signing. I believe in the talent of a Gerald Everett. I think he's a very talented tight end in general, and I do believe like him going to the Seahawks, I could see them finally getting the answer at the tight end position with the Gerald Everett. I think that was a big signing that's going untalked about for the most part.
Is that some fantasy vibes?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, because Gerald Everett, he was the guy who was consistently going in and getting some uses with the Rams, but he just didn't get the opportunity to really be a fantasy relevant tight end. He was like a week to week, maybe you start him, maybe he gets a touchdown type of guy, and most tight ends are that in fantasy for the most part. I could see him leveling up to you start him every week kind of thing. He's a guy that I would target late in drafts and think, hey, maybe he levels up and becomes a guy that you can start every single week. I'm not saying he'll become a top 3 tight end, but I definitely think he could be a good option.
Does the Russell Wilson MVP thing take back off? Because it took off, and then at week 10 it fizzled out, and then I think that was when he lost. Whenever they had that rough 2 to 3 week stretch where he lost his MVP.
Yeah.
Can he pick that back up and keep running with it?
So, look, I would actually argue that more of the responsibility for Russell Wilson's struggle and the passing game struggle belongs on the scheme and the passing scheme, like the schematics of the passing game, than it does Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson certainly threw more interceptions than he should have in that couple week span, as you're talking about. And I am of the opinion that, like, I don't know if Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are going to be on the same team in 2 years. Obviously, they're going to run it together this year, but I think something's going to give. And is ownership going to step in and take the side of a Russell Wilson, or is it going to be a Pete Carroll thing? I think it's going to end up being Pete Carroll's team, and he might decide to move on from Russell Wilson if the right deal arises. But I think that's going to be a Pete Carroll thing, because everything that I've seen about the way the ownership system works with the Seahawks is that everything's kind of,
he has the keys, man.
He has the keys to the castle, and the owner is the sister of the original owner, and I'm blanking on her name right now, but it's just kind of in the family, and she's low maintenance. Like, she's not the
Allen family.
It's the Allen family. It's Judy Allen. Thank you so much. The owner of the Seahawks is not hands on right now, and Pete Carroll has the keys to that castle right now, as you said. I absolutely agree. So I think it's more likely that it's a Russell Wilson departing this team really having a serious turnover in a couple of years. I'd like that not to be the case. I'd like them to revamp the passing game and revamp the offense in general. But I think we saw them try to do that this year, and it kind of fell apart, and they went back to what Pete Carroll feels comfortable with. And it's a scary thing because on paper, that the pieces that they have on the offense, you put in a lot of other coaches, a lot of other schemers' hands. And I mean, this is a dominant force in the NFL that is likened to the Chiefs. I'll go that far to say it. I mean, I think I believe in the amount of talent that they have, and I believe that there is something there that could be super fucking special.
No, they should be getting Lombardis. They should at least be getting to that championship game every single year where we see whoever it is in the NFC that's lining up alongside of them. They should be the constant variable, the Chiefs of the NFC. Essentially, I mean, they have the weapons to do so. Yeah. Yes, their defense is lacking, but I mean, they're very similar when you look at the Chiefs and Seahawks in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm led back to where we had that correlation a few weeks ago talking about a Mike McCarthy and a Pete Carroll, how they are synonymous almost with they got the Super Bowl with their young star at the time early, and then they have been in this constant, very, very successful team. But at the end of the day, if you're not bringing home the ring, or if you are not competing for that ring every single year in, year out, Seattle has done a better job than Green Bay did for many years with at least getting deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Another Super Bowl appearance, a few championships here and there, but something's got to give at a certain point.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it's going to be I think sadly they're going to get an offer that you can't say no to eventually.
Yeah, and especially if Russell really starts to push it, because I think the difference between, because I absolutely agree, there's a lot of parallels, and I talked about it in this video I did for Hammercast, where there's a lot of parallels between Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy split and the Russell Wilson Pete Carroll split, and I can connect a lot of dots there, and I think at the end of the day, the one difference between the way Russell Wilson's handling it now and the way Aaron Rodgers handled it then is Russell Wilson is playing the media, and he's using the media to his advantage. Aaron Rodgers has really never been good at that. Aaron
Rodgers got pinned as the bad guy out of that situation.
He did, and really this year's the first year he started to use the media in the sense that he did he used to do an hour-long podcast with Pat McAfee every week on a show on Tuesdays. I used to watch it every week during the seasons, and you actually got to see the person behind the mask a little bit, and he really never let people see that, and it's one of those things where he just now has gotten that realization. Oh shit, I kind of need people to like me in this game. At the end of the day, there's a game behind the game, and that's the business side of it. Russell Wilson understands that a little bit more and is using that to his advantage. Every move that has been made with regards to Russell Wilson in the media has been calculated, and I think that will continue to be the case, and we're going to see how it unfolds. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting.
Damn good team going forward.
Damn good team. Hey, let's get back to it just to talk about draft needs. Do we agree? Just fortify the trenches. Are we in the same boat there?
And defensive back, cornerback.
Yeah. Yeah, so wherever they go, got to be one of those. Pretty good year to need an offensive lineman, as I've said a handful of times in this pod. But yeah, good. Go draft an offensive lineman in the first round. Don't care where it is. All right, we will move on. Let's move on over to the Rams. Team with a ton of turnover, a lot of losses, a couple additions, but strangely still feels like they got a lot better, even though there's a lot of names that they're about to lose.
You have maybe, I'm not even going to count, maybe 10 names on the losses. You have 2 on the additions. They're better. This is a team to watch out for this next year, and it's because of the number 9 right there with his arms up, Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
I think he's going to propel this team with Sean McVay and this offense. They are going to set the NFL on fire. And this is a hard division to do that in, because you can look at each 1, 2, 3, 4, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, 49ers. Any of them could win it. So it's hard to put your name behind one of them. I'm going to put it behind the Rams. All of them are great teams, but I think Matt Stafford and all of these offensive weapons, and you have a damn good defense with Aaron Donald, who is the current reigning defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey. You have some solid linebackers. There are names across the board, man.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And look, I'll put this graphic back up, and you see the draft needs in the bottom right. The safety, cornerback, linebacker is the top 3, right? All of those are their needs. They're not pressing needs for the team.
They need a safety because they lost John Johnson.
They do. Safety's the big one, but cornerback, linebacker, they're going to be fine. They need a cornerback too, kind of. They need a linebacker, kind of. But I think they're going to be fine there. Offensive line, you can always use offensive linemen. But yeah, there's not really a part of this defense that I'm worried about. I think John Johnson, was one of the biggest losses. I think him and Gerald Everett were the 2 biggest losses for their team. Hey, you can't pay everybody, and they have some big contracts to some really good players. So you have to make some concessions there. This team has always been really good at drafting. They don't have a first-round pick. They seem to hate first-round picks, which, I think they're a team that feels like they're going to be drafting in the late 20s, so why not turn a first-round pick into a superstar?
I see their mindset.
Yeah, it's worked. It's strangely enough, it has kind of worked. There's been some misses with, I would argue, a Cooks was maybe a misstep, but other than that,
But it brought them to a Super Bowl. I'm telling you, you put Matt Stafford on that 2017 Super Bowl team, that's a game over right there. I'll tell you who wins that ring.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I absolutely agree. Because Matt Stafford would have made that throw in the end zone that Jared Goff botched. So yeah, I look at this team as a superstar. Not a whole lot of additions, obviously. Really just Matt Stafford in the trade, and Leonard Fournette re-signed, or Leonard Floyd re-signed. Excuse me. Anywhere else you want to go with this?
One last thing, fantasy fun fact: Sean McVay has said that Cam Akers can be a 1 through 3 down back.
Absolutely agree. Cam Akers is like he's a top 5 running back for me next year in fantasy.
There we go.
I absolutely agree with that. I think Cam Akers is going to be a stud. He's in a perfect situation on a team with a better quarterback, going to have a better offense around him. And I understand people are like, oh, well, they're going to be throwing more. No, they're going to have the same fucking system. They just have a guy who can make throws that Jared Goff couldn't. So they're going to get first downs on third downs that Jared Goff couldn't finish. So yeah, it's only going to be good for Cam Akers. Absolutely agree. Let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals, who look. I
expect you to gas them up here.
This is the year, man. I always talk about the 3-year rebuild, right? And I talked about last year was year 2 of the 3-year rebuild, and they showed promise. This is year 3, and they have done, I think, everything right from where they used to be to where they are now. Do you have questions about the quarterback and the scheme in general? Sure. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work long term, but gosh dang, goddamn, whatever you want to say. I don't know why I didn't cuss there. I don't have a problem cussing, but you trade for a Rodney Hudson, a 3rd round pick for a Rodney Hudson, and you got a 7th round in return for a little bit extra compensation. But a 3rd round pick for a Rodney Hudson, who's a stud center, superstar. You're good there. You get an AJ Green. I don't know what you're going to get out of him, but I mean, I am excited to see the leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited to see the leadership at worst, and at best, you're gonna have a good player. You're getting the last little bit of talent out of him before he calls it quits. Same for JJ Watt, leadership move at the very worst. Matt Prater replaces a Zane Gonzalez, a minor kicker move. We don't spend a lot of time talking about, but I mean, definitely a positive, I would say. Even though I did like Zane Gonzalez, he was on a lot of my fantasy teams. You look at draft needs. You need help at cornerback. You lost Patrick Peterson. That's a big one. But Patrick Peterson, he's lost a step. I would like Patrick Peterson to transition to safety in my perfect world. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. I would like him to do that type of move. Linebacker, yeah, you need some help with a stand-up linebacker. Again, you got Isaiah Simmons last year, and I do think you need maybe another.
Let him loose.
Yeah, and I think they kind of struggled to figure out where they wanted him. But at the end of the season, I feel like they've, Vance Joseph kind of figured it out and started to use him in the right setting. Tight end, I put it on there. I don't really think this team values tight end very highly, so I'm not really worried about that. And then offensive line, again, yeah, there's some pieces there. This team can be really good. Kyler Murray's going to be exciting this year. They have the weapons. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see them let it loose.
Sky is the limit.
Sky is the limit. This
team is capable. They have every box checked. If J.J. Watt is able to come in and be more than a voice, which I know he is capable of with his work ethic, and I am down for the A.J. Green hype train right now. Yeah. I think with a DeAndre Hopkins, maybe a Larry Fitz comes back, you have a Christian Kirk, you have an A.J. Green, who A.J. Green got a lot of targets last year. A lot of them were heavily contested targets that old A.J. Green could reel in and bring down. Just A.J. Green just wasn't able to do it this past year. He had some flashes here and there. Maybe in this system he is. I think, and it's not up here, I think they need to get running back.
Okay.
I want to see.
Oh, that needs to be up there.
I want to see Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I'm going to add that. That's going to be in there in the final thing because you're absolutely right. Running back's a big thing.
I think running back, if they could get that 3-headed monster, because I know they have more than that 3 weapons, but get the quarterback, running back, wide receiver thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this team could take off.
Yeah, because Kenyan Drake I was disappointed. He showed some serious flash when they traded for him in that second half of the season of the 2019 season when he came over from the Dolphins, and then 2020 he lost a step. It just is what it is. And I like the guy they have from the small school. I think the guy from like Fordham, Chase Edmonds from like Fordham, and he's a good little back there. They need to add another dude. I would love that for them. Javonte Williams would be my guy.
I have Najee to the Falcons. I have Travis Etienne to the Jets. Just where it lines up in my head and makes sense.
Yeah, where you like the best fit.
Javonte at the Cardinals, man.
That's an awesome fit. I really agree with that. Yeah. I 100% agree. I don't have anything else anywhere else to go with this.
I'm good.
All right. Let's move on to the last team we are going to talk about. This is the last team. We are almost done. All right, 49ers. Let's talk about it. What do you like? What do you dislike? Let's hear it.
I like the team as a whole. Looking at the re-signed Trent Williams, they made him the highest paid offensive lineman that we have ever seen out there, and they should have done it because the guy is getting pancakes at the second and sometimes third level back there. What's up?
Oh no, I was going to ask you. Are you worried about his age? At
no,
33?
Not worried about that. I saw his motor that he played with last year, and dude was just pancaking everyone out there. That's what he wants to do. Then they were able to bring in an Alex Mack at center too. I think that is a huge addition to the offensive line. A team that, if they can stay healthy, because they were just decimated by that last year, and they still fought hard in a lot of times where they shouldn't have, with a who was the Nick Mullins?
Nick Mullins, yeah, their
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I mentioned a Nick Mullins, because they lost to Solomon Thomas real quick. A guy who didn't really pan out. We'll see what he can become. Yeah. Other than that, Kendrick Bourne, you can plug and play different wide receivers in there, and you'll be okay. But I mentioned Nick Mullins because we have an injured Jimmy Garoppolo, and you are not done with Jimmy G.
No, I'm not. I look at Jimmy G as a guy who's been hurt the past 2 years. I get it. I think I feel pretty confident the upside is not what I thought it could be. But overall, I still think he'd be a fine starter. And like, they're drafting at 12. Do you trade up and try and get one of the top guys? You have to jump ahead of Carolina if you believe, like, Zach Wilson's gone at 2, right? So if you want one of those other next tier quarterbacks, you got to jump ahead of Carolina and make a move if you want to do that. I don't know if they want to do that. We'll see what happens. But I look at Jimmy G as the guy to keep it going. He has to stay healthy. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better decision. I don't think there's a better move to be made. Maybe if they like one of these rookies and they'd rather run it with one of them, I think even if you do that, you still keep Jimmy G as the starter for a year. I mean, I would be fine with that.
I don't think there's a guy out there that, yes, there are quarterbacks that are better and will be better than a Jimmy G, but looking at the system that you have with a Kyle Shanahan and the way that things have been going, the ship is fine. It's sailing. You got beat up last year and everything, but with Jimmy G there, if you were to bring in a Justin Fields, for instance, he's got to get used to the speed of the game. He's got to get used to the plays and the
decision making has to improve. Yeah,
there's a lot of different things that you got to do that I think Jimmy G already has that checked, and as long as he's healthy, he's good to go there. I think they're going to take cornerback first round.
Really? Okay. So you want to say Farley?
I want to see the secondary help out. Surtain
would be your guy at 12. Okay. Yeah. Hey, I like that a whole lot. I agree with that. I think you hit it, man. I agree. They did everything they needed to do with the offensive line. We look at this team as like a team. Oh, they're picking 12. They weren't that good last year. Their entire team got hurt. Like, the star of their offense and the star of their defense got hurt, and everybody in the middle got hurt. You look at this team, great wide receiver core for the most part. You like their offensive line. You like love their tight end, love their running backs. You love the scheme in general. Quarterback, you can have a question about, but I think he can run the system fine. You go to defense, their defensive line is still going to be really good. You like their linebackers, although definitely could use some improvement there. And then corner, you said is the biggest need on the defense. Overall, this team, I mean, shit, they could be fucking awesome. They could be awesome.
And awesome means Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have the potential.
They can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the last thing that we'll do then, I think this is the best division in football. 1, 2, 3, 4 it for me right now.
Really quick.
I'm not going to hold you to it because I know we do episodes later, but it is so stacked.
It's so stacked, and I feel bad doing this. God, it's
because
so
you're
hard.
Going to have
Who do you put it for?
You're going to have a damn good team at 4.
Who do you put it for?
You're going to put Kyler at 4? Are you going to really put Matt Stafford that I just gassed up at 4? You very well could. Or is it going to be the 49ers?
I'm going to go Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, Seahawks.
Seahawks?
At 4.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard to do.
That's impossible to do.
I
feel bad. I feel dirty. I want to change it. I don't know. I want to put Seahawks, but I don't want to put 49ers last because I think I don't fucking know.
Seahawks, Rams, 49ers, Cardinals. And I do not feel
I just
strong
guessed
about
at the Cardinals, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's so hard to do this. This is a very competitive
God,
division.
I don't know. It was hard last year. I think it's harder this year. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel good about the way I put it, the order I put it. I want to move the Seahawks up, but I don't know who to move down. I don't know, like maybe the
because
Rams.
It's so hard because we
QB1.
Look at each team individually and it's like, man, they're good. They're going to be good. And it's like, okay, but now go play that good team that you just also gassed up. It's like, well, I don't know.
Now go play these 6 games that are going to be really fucking hard.
I don't know what's going to happen now.
All right. Hey, we'll end it on that note, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this long and you are not subscribed, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching this long. Thank you so much to everybody who has supported us lately. We will not talk any longer, guys. Peace out.
7.